My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. After watching this season of the HBO's original series, The White Lotus, this is the tropical getaway I needed. One more pina colada, please.
Hey, you're not on mute.
Oh, I thought I was in paradise. Turns out it was my Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate pina colada and Thai iced coffee flavored creamers. Inspired by the newest season of HBO's original series, The White Lotus. For the love of coffee. Try now.
If you are interested in supporting this podcast and at the same time getting all my episodes ad-free, then please head to my website, 3dprintingbasicspod.com. Again, that's 3dprintingbasicspod.com. There you can find all the links to support me, my affiliate links, and as a perk, you can get all my episodes ad-free if you subscribe on Patreon, Spotify, or Apple Music. Again, all my links will be there, as well as a contact form if you have any questions. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, and welcome back to 3D Printing Basics. This is episode number 52. And in this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the factors that artificial intelligence plays on 3D printing. We're going to talk about how it helps, how it hurts maybe, and just everything in between. Everything that AI has to do with 3D printing. Before we get into it, I just wanted to say, wow, 52 episodes of 3D Printing Basics. I definitely am very appreciative of all the support that I've received. 52 episodes is a really big milestone and something that I'm really happy to get to. And I'm really excited to keep continuing to make these episodes for you guys. I've received very positive feedback and I'm very much appreciative of all the support. So thank you guys so much for listening. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. So my first experience with AI being used in 3D printing was when I got the Bambu Labs X1 Carbon. It said it had the AI spaghetti detection, which is basically just being able to detect if a print is failing and automatically stop and have the user check to see if the print is indeed failing or not, and then they can either stop or resume the print. So that was my first experience with AI, and that was right when the Bambu Labs X1C came out. So it was a few years ago at this point, and since then, artificial intelligence has been playing more and more of a role in 3D printing. So I wanted to go over a few ways that AI is helping in the 3D printing space, and I think the number one, the most major way that it is helping is in the design area. I've made episodes talking about 3D modeling and all the different sites that you can use, but of course 3D modeling takes time to learn, it takes time to get really good at, but there are some design AIs out there that can do it for you. The one that I happen to be researching is called Meshy.ai. It's somewhat free. The basic level is free, but I've had a user contact me and tell me that they've been using it, and what it seems to be is that you can upload anything you want, whether it's a drawing or anything like that. It's a drawing, you can use text-to-speech, you can use other features, and it will essentially design a 3D model for you without having to do any work. This particular user that reached out to me and was telling me about it was saying that he was in the middle of learning Fusion 360 and wanted to print a game piece but didn't have the design skills to design it. So what he did was he just asked this AI to design it for him, and sure enough, it did just that, and he showed me the model that he was able to print from it. So that is something that would be it would take down a really big barrier to entry in 3D printing, because I think 3D printers, when they're just getting into the 3D printing space, are really held back by their lack of design skills. If you're somebody who's brand new and you're just getting into 3D printing and you want to print all these things that you can't find online, you want to start designing your own stuff, you need to take some time to be able to actually learn the whatever 3D modeling software you want to use. You need to learn it, you need to practice at it, you need to get good at it so you can really start developing these complex models especially like figurines, like models like that are super complex. That's going to take a year or more of practice. And with this Meshy.ai, which I will link down in the description below, you can just type in what you want and it will make it for you, which is... This episode is brought to you by PCBWay. Ready to take your electronics projects to the next level? PCBWay offers everything you need, from custom PCBs to 3D printing and even CNC machining, all under one roof. They're trusted by engineers and makers worldwide for their exceptional quality and fast turnaround. And here's a special deal for listeners of 3D Printing Basics. Use the promo code 3D Printing Squared, SQUARED, to get $10 off your first order. Start your next project with PCBWay and see the difference for yourself. Head over to PCBWay.com today. Now, I have never used Meshy.ai before, so I can't say how good or bad it is. I would assume that it has the same problems that any other learning AI software has, that it doesn't make exactly what you want. You have to be really definitive in your text describing exactly what you want for it to make what you want. But I think at the end of the day, it really can help somebody who doesn't have the best design skills to be able to print the more complex things that they are wanting to if they can't find it online. Because while there may be billions of files online, you're not always going to find what you want. And sometimes you're going to want to take a file, you're going to want to edit it a little bit, you're going to want to change something, or you're just going to want to design something completely unique. And I think that's where this Meshy.ai can come in. So like I said, I will leave it in the description below. If you wanted to check it out, there is a free version of it. I'm not sure how restrictive or available the free version makes it for you, but feel free to go ahead and check it out. I think it could help a lot of beginners in the 3D printing space. And like I said, I think AI and the designing, the 3D modeling part of 3D printing is where it is most significantly used. The next point where I wanted to talk about where AI could be used is the example that I used at the beginning of this episode, in error reduction. Like I said, the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon, I don't believe any of their other printers have this, but the X1 Carbon has AI spaghetti detection. So it can detect when there are imperfections or irregularities on the print surface itself, and it can actually stop the print and tell you, hey, I think this might be messed up, and can you check it and make sure it's okay? And I've had it happen a few times, and I would say there was only about 1 or 2 times out of probably the 10 or so times that this AI has alerted me of a problem that there wasn't actually a problem. So I think it has about an 80% or so success rate for me when it comes to letting me know that there might be failures in the print. And this is something that can save you tons of time, and especially for somebody like me, I'm in my office and my printer room is in a separate room because there's 12 or so printers in there, and that's a lot of fumes that I don't want to be breathing in all day. So especially for somebody like me who can't wash their printers every second of the day and leaves them overnight running a lot of the time, that could save you a lot of time and a lot of money. For example, say I wanted to start a 12-hour long print right before I left the office for the day. I start it, it gets messed up on the first or second layer, I don't get notified, and it runs completely failed print. I just wasted probably half a kilogram of filament and all that time. But if the Bambu Labs lets me know that something is messed up and I can look at it and I can see that it's messed up, maybe I can't fix it because I'm not at the office, but I can stop the print. I can save all that material and all that wasted time, and I could work on getting it ready to go the next day. And that's something that is huge, especially for me and for anybody that's trying to run a business. It's obviously very important that you are very mindful of trying not to waste any materials or any extra time. And so that Bambu Labs, the AI, I really hope that gets incorporated into all the printers. I really love the camera and the AI detection for failure rate. So I really hope that that is something that we continue to see in 3D printers that continue to get manufactured. Another aspect where AI can help in 3D printing is for the slicing software. I believe that we aren't far away from a point where we can just make a model and then we have it sliced in the most efficient way with unique settings for each print. And I think we are very close to that. And that would be really nice because there are a lot of times where I will print something and it doesn't turn out so great the first time, and then I have to tweak some settings. I have to tweak some print settings here and there, and that would be something that if an AI could maybe use the camera and watch 3D prints and see the quality that comes off and be able to make adjustments here or there, or just be able to predict what kind of settings need to be changed based on the model itself. So what I'm envisioning is like you drop the model into your slicing software and the AI analyzes it and suggests a bunch of changes, maybe not a bunch of changes, but just changes in general to what might be able to help create a better model for printing. Not create a better model, but create better slicing settings so that this model prints better and better quality. And you can either decide to go with those settings or you can decide to keep the current settings that you have. And that's something that I think would be really, really helpful and really efficient, again, especially from a business standpoint, just because the amount of times that I would have to reprint models because the quality isn't great, because there are some settings that need to be slightly tweaked, is more than I care to admit. And it's not fun getting a job and having to reprint some things because it just doesn't turn out quite right, because the stock settings may not be as good, or it might be a little bit different. Just maybe you're using a little different brand of filament. I've noticed even from brand to brand of the same PLA filament, some settings work on some brands and some settings work better on other brands. And that's just something that I would really like. And of course, you can set stock settings. You can have different user profiles for your different brands of filament. But for me, I use a lot of different brands. I use probably 10 or 15 different brands of filament, and having each one of those having their own specific filament settings and their own specific slicing settings, it gets cumbersome. And I would really like it if the AI could do it all itself. That would be really nice for me. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, I feel kind of goes hand in hand in everything that I've been talking about. And I know I've been talking mostly from a business standpoint, but I do believe that all of these things can help. If you're not trying to create a 3D printing business, if you're just trying to have some fun at home, I think that there is definitely a lot of that you can have fun with. And this would be some sort of AI robot that can take prints out and start prints yourself. This is the biggest thing for me. If I could have an automated system that takes prints off the bed when they're done printing, takes everything else off, takes the skirt loops, takes the prime towers, and then puts the bed back in there, and then I can just restart it all from either from home or from my office, then my printers would run 24/7, and it would be the most optimal business. From a business standpoint, that would be the most optimal way to run my business. If I believe that we can get close to that. I know that there are robot arms out there, and I'm sure that there are certain systems, certain businesses that use it already today. But if we could develop a small little robot arm that would be cheap enough for the normal person to buy, then I think that would really take off. And if it could be AI equipped with maybe a camera so that it could see what it's doing, it knows how to handle everything. It could maybe it takes the build plate off and then takes the model off, sets it down, cleans the build plate of prime tower, skirt loops, all that good stuff, and then puts the build plate back so that I can start remotely the next print or anything like that. I think that is a really good idea that I'm putting it out there. If anybody wants to develop that, you can have that idea. So please go ahead and see what you can do with that. But that's another thing where I think AI overall, 3D printing is such an automated process, but then also such not an automated process because there's so much human touch that is involved. Whenever the 3D printers are not actively printing, it's pretty much all human touch. And I think if AI can come in and take out the human touch here and there, it would make 3D printing so much more efficient, and it would make it much more reasonable for the main stage of manufacturing for these companies to be able to have their 3D printing wings and really take it to the main stage. So that's just something to think about and something that I hope gets developed. That was just a little me thing, so I hope you're all right with that. And with that being said, that's kind of all I have for you guys today. I hope, as scary as AI may be getting for us recently, I really hope that we see that there is some positive aspects of it, especially in the 3D printing world. And I really hope that some of the ideas here get utilized. Some of them already are, and some of them need to be developed, and some of them need to be kind of honed in and worked on a little bit more. But overall, I think AI definitely has a space in 3D printing to be used affordably and reliably, and being able to help not just me as a 3D printing business owner, but even just the hobbyist who has one 3D printer and just wants to print stuff for fun. With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.